Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a word we all think we know, yoga. But we're going to peel back the layers and uncover this rich, complex, and honestly pretty surprising history that goes back thousands of years. So let's dive right in. So when I say the word yoga, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, right, it's probably a nice, brightly lit studio, a yoga mat, maybe an online class. It's all about stretching, holding some poses, and, doing a little breathing. But here's the thing. That image, as common as it is really just the newest little branch on a very, very old tree. The tradition we're exploring today is so much bigger and more diverse than just a workout.
So let's step off the mat for a second and ask the big question. What is yoga really? This is going to be a journey that takes us from ancient rituals all the way to modern wellness.
Okay, this is where our definition of yoga just gets blown wide open. See, it's not just one thing. It's a whole ecosystem of practices. Of course, you've got the physical stuff, the postures or asanas and the breathing, but it also includes entire ethical codes for how to live your life, deep practices for meditation and devotion, and even these massive philosophical frameworks for understanding reality itself. It's the whole shebang.
Now, to really understand how all these pieces fit together, we have to go back, way back, to its ancient roots where the meanings are so much deeper.
So the word yoga actually comes from the Sanskrit root yuj, which first shows up in India's oldest sacred texts, the Vedas. And get this, its original meaning was super literal. It meant to yoke, or harness horses to a chariot. It was a word about action, about control, about bringing these powerful forces together for a purpose.
And this is where that practical idea gets this incredible philosophical twist. The Upanishads took that image of yoking a chariot and completely turned it inward. Suddenly, your body is the chariot, your mind is the driver, and your inner self, that's the master of the whole operation. Yoga became the discipline of yoking your own mind and senses to find yourself. How cool is that?
All right, so this idea of discipline eventually gets organized into one of the most influential systems in yoga's history, a formal 8-limbed path laid out by the great sage Patanjali.
Patanjali's Yoga Sutras gives us this complete roadmap. And look how it starts, not with poses, but with ethics, how you treat the world and how you treat yourself. Then it moves to the body with posture and breath. And from there, the journey goes deeper and deeper inward, withdrawing your senses, focusing your mind, meditating, and aiming for this ultimate state of liberation. It's a full-on system for the mind and spirit. And here's the kicker, the part that really puts things in perspective. Within that huge 8-limbed path asana, the physical posture is just one step. That's right. The one thing that dominates our modern idea of yoga was originally just a single preparatory step for a much, much deeper journey.
But here's the thing about a tradition this old. Patanjali's system, as amazing as it is, was never the only way. The tradition just kept growing and diversifying, recognizing that, hey, there are many different paths that can lead to the same goal of union.
Yoga didn't develop in a vacuum. It was always in conversation with other major Indian traditions like Jainism and Buddhism. They were all developing these super sophisticated techniques for meditation and discipline, kind of learning from each other. This really enriched the whole tradition, proving there was never just one right way to do it.
And this idea gets a massive boost in one of the most famous spiritual texts of all time, the Bhagavad Gita. It lays out 3 totally distinct paths of yoga, basically opening it up for everyone, not just monks hiding away in a cave. You could find that union through selfless action in the world, through passionate devotion, or through sharp intellectual study. Suddenly, yoga was a practice for every part of your life.
Then, a few centuries later, something truly radical happens with the rise of Hatha Yoga. For a lot of the older traditions, the body was kind of seen as an obstacle, something you had to control or even ignore to reach enlightenment. Hatha Yoga just flips that idea on its head. It said, no, the body is the main event. It's the vessel for our spiritual journey. And this is the direct ancestor of the yoga we see in studios today.
So we have this ancient, super diverse tradition in India. How on earth did it make its way to a studio right in your neighborhood? Well, the story of how yoga went global is fascinating, and it was really pushed along by a few key people. So in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, you basically get 2 different visions of yoga being introduced to the world. On one side, you have Swami Vivekananda. He comes to the West and presents yoga as this deep, spiritual science, all about philosophy and meditation. He actually downplayed the physical stuff. But then, a little later, you get T. Krishnamacharya,
who does the complete opposite. He puts the physical postures front and center, even mixing Hatha yoga with gymnastics and calisthenics. He basically becomes the father of modern postural yoga as we know it.
So, both of these streams, the deeply spiritual and the intensely physical, they both flow right into the present day, creating a practice that is, you guessed it, still evolving and adapting all the time.
And this really gets to the heart of what modern yoga is for so many people. It's a hybrid, it's a blend. For some people, it's all about physical fitness. For others, it's a tool for managing stress and staying healthy. And for a whole lot of people, it's still very much a path of spiritual discipline and deep philosophical questions. And often, it's a little bit of everything all at once.
Look, if there is one single thing to take away from this whole journey, it's this. Yoga has never been one static, unchanging thing. It has always been adaptive. Its greatest strength, the reason it's still around after thousands of years, is its incredible ability to reshape itself for new people, new times, and new cultures.
So that leaves us with the big question, right? Is yoga a workout? Is it a spiritual path, a system of philosophy? Or is it somehow all of the above? As we've seen, it's been all of those things at different points in its history. And maybe, just maybe, the only true constant in this incredibly long and amazing story is change itself.